fundamentally personal in nature. For that reason as well, Your Honor, Virginia's anti-SLAPP statute is not applicable. And based on the foregoing, Your Honor, Mr. Depp respectfully submits that the court should grant plaintiff's motion to strike the counterclaims and also strike her claim
I switched to
that she
YouTube
is
because
immune
I felt
under the anti-SLAPP statute. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
maybe, just maybe, it would be a little better for you guys. So I hope
Thank you, Your Honor.
it does a little better for you guys.
As Your Honor knows, the
In
trial
terms
court
of
is
what I
required
want
to
to do,
accept as true all the evidence favorable to Amber
I'm
at
going
this
to listen
point,
to it
as well as
same
any
length as
reasonable
you.
inference a jury
So
might
when
draw
my answer,
therefrom, which would sustain the counterclaim. That's the
come
correct
to
standard
that.
here.
I'm going to mute my mic.
I'll address the actual malice argument first,
know
the
what you guys
agency
think.
argument. Your Honor, there's plenty of evidence in the record from which the jury could determine that Mr. Waldman was Mr. Depp's agent. He made those statements. The statements referred to him as Mr. Depp's attorney. As Your Honor ruled on Friday with respect to the jury instruction conference, an attorney is an agent of his client. Mr. Waldman testified that he's been Mr. Depp's attorney since 2016. He freely admitted speaking to the press on Mr. Depp's behalf, and he refused to answer question after question about that agency, so he can't use that as a sword now. Mr. Chu puts a lot of emphasis on the fact that Mr. Depp allegedly didn't see the comments that were made that are the subject of the counterclaim, but as Your Honor well knows, whether he saw them or not is not the standard for agency. There's also evidence that Mr. Depp met with the Daily Mail with Mr. Waldman prior to the defamatory statements being made and released. I believe that was in February of 2020, just 2 months prior. Mr. Waldman also concocted a story that Amber was being investigated for perjury by filing a perjury complaint against her with the LAPD. He disregarded any evidence that he didn't believe would fit in his narrative, that would fit in this story that he was speaking about on behalf of Mr. Depp. And after Mr. Depp lost the UK proceeding, after Mr. Depp was ruled to be a wife beater by the court in the UK proceeding, the court there found him to be a wife beater. Mr. Waldman then got an overseas tabloid to run a story claiming that Amber was being investigated for perjury, which simply wasn't true. He walked into the LAPD, filed a complaint for perjury against Ms. Heard, found a media outlet that doesn't follow the two-source rule, and then he had let the world believe that the LAPD was investigating Ms. Heard for perjury. That's a shameful and a sickening example, Your Honor, of the lengths that Mr. Depp, through his agent, Mr. Waldman, would go to smear and to defame Amber Heard, and that continued in the 3 statements in the counterclaim. Your Honor has heard evidence, I won't go through all the evidence, but Your Honor's heard evidence from Ron Schnell, who's traced the negative hashtags toward Amber Heard online associated with those defamatory statements, and noted the staggeringly high number of them that were associated with Mr. Waldman. Under the principles of the agent-principal relationship in Virginia, Your Honor, when Mr. Waldman made those statements, he was standing in the shoes of Mr. Depp. They are one and the same for the purposes of those statements. As Your Honor discussed at length on Friday, Mr. Waldman made these statements with actual malice. There's plenty of evidence from which the jury could infer that, and his own, both from the actual malice from Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman's own reckless disregard of facts that didn't support Mr. Depp, and his attempts to manufacture false evidence that did. As Your Honor found in the hearing, I believe it was on March 24th, after Your Honor denied Mr. Depp's motion for summary judgment, Your Honor said, as to malice, a fact finder could reasonably conclude that Mr. Waldman made the statements with malice because Mr. Waldman has no personal knowledge of the party's marriage and still made the statements at issue. Nothing in this case has changed that. If anything, the evidence has only made it more clear that that is an inference that the jury can and we believe will find. So, Your Honor, there's no basis to grant a motion to strike on this agency argument. On the actual malice argument, the evidence shows that not only was Mr. Waldman Mr. Depp's agent, but that the two of them conspired to falsely accuse Amber of creating a hoax and falsify evidence that they believed supported their theory and what they wanted to achieve. As Your Honor well knows, too, I won't go through all the law, but both agency and malice can be inferred through circumstantial evidence. There's plenty of evidence in the record from which the jury could infer those. Moving on, Your Honor, to the independent contractor, the court's already rejected this argument, ruled that an attorney client have a principal-agent relationship, and as Your Honor said on Friday, there's no evidence in this case of anything otherwise. As to the argument that the counterclaim statements are statements of opinion, the court has already found twice that they are not statements of opinion, both on January 4th, 2021, in its opinion letter denying Mr. Depp's demur as to the counterclaim statements, and at the motion for summary judgment hearing in March of this year. As to the anti-SLAPP argument, the court again has already ruled at the March 24th, 2021 opinion that the statements are as a matter of law regarding matters of public opinion. The court has already ruled that. Therefore, the only remaining issue for anti-SLAPP is whether the intent element of immunity is met. As we discussed on Friday, the intent element of immunity is substantially the same as the actual malice standard, which the evidence in this case easily allows a jury to find in favor of Ms. Heard on that. I won't go through the litany of evidence that supports that Mr. Depp is an abuser here, but I'll touch on a few things that relate to Mr. Chu's argument. One, Mr. Chu was totally misrepresenting Mr. Doherty's testimony. There's not a single piece of evidence, Your Honor, in this case suggesting that Ms. Heard and the ACLU were somehow conspiring to achieve a defamatory implication to Mr. Depp. That's simply not what Mr. Doherty said. Mr. Chu, feel free to argue that to the jury, but that's not what his testimony reflects. God. Your Honor, there's also plenty of evidence that's been adduced both in Mr. Depp's claim and in Ms. Heard's counterclaim that show that absolutely that the counterclaim statements are 100% false. There was no hoax perpetrated. Mr. Depp is an abuser who abused Ms. Heard. She did not conspire with her friends to create a hoax. She did not create a hoax herself. And just very briefly, some of the evidence that's come up since the last motion to strike, Your Honor, that Mr. Chu conveniently disregards in his brief are the testimony of Rocky Pennington, the testimony of Josh Drew, the testimony of Elizabeth Mars, all of whom completely corroborate Ms. Heard's account of the events of May 21st, 2016. The testimony of Melanie Iglesias, who testified that she covered Ms. Heard's bruises with makeup right after the December 15th incident, that provided ample testimony to support that Ms. Heard often would cover her bruises that were caused by the plaintiff in this case, by Mr. Depp, with makeup. He ignores the evidence of Christy Sexton. He ignores the evidence of Io Tillett Wright. He ignores the evidence of Whitney Enriquez. All of these witnesses and others have testified extensively about Mr. Depp's abusive behavior toward Ms. Heard. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, verbal abuse, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's own writings, recordings, pictures, and videos confirm that. The list goes on. There's abundant evidence in the record, Your Honor, from which the jury could, and again, we believe will find that Ms. Heard is not liable for defamation to Mr. Depp, and therefore, by definition, she has not acted with actual malice, and based on the court's rulings on March 24th, 2021, she would be entitled to anti-SLAPP immunity, which would permit her to ask the court to award attorney's fees against Mr. Depp. So with that, Your Honor, I'm happy to answer any questions the court has.
That's
but
fine.
That
Thank you,
covers
sir.
it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I will be brief in deference to the court's time and the jury's time. What Mr. Rottenborn said about Mr. Waldman's allegedly going to the LAPD about perjury is a complete non sequitur. If they thought that that were somehow improper conduct, they could have included it in their counterclaims. They included everything else but the kitchen sink, and most of it was thrown out. There was nothing in there about Mr. Waldman going to the LAPD. So that is a very clear non sequitur, red herring distraction. Number two, when Your Honor ruled on summary judgment on the issue of the counterclaims, Your Honor was dealing with a different standard and a different evidentiary record. At that time, Mr. Waldman had not testified, which is material. Mr. Waldman has now testified for purposes of trial. We have his trial testimony. It's very clear that he did not act with actual malice. They didn't even argue that. So that's pretty clear. And again,
Yeah, there's no walking around from chronically.
This is consistent. The third point is that it's all about games. They didn't sue Mr. Waldman on the 3 statements. They didn't try to fill the hole. They've been telling us for a week that they're going to call Mr. Depp to try to fill the hole in their counterclaims. They didn't do that. And it's very consistent with the game playing. Let's go into court after the police have found no problem and after witness who had no relationship with each other said there are no visible marks. Let's not give Mr. Depp's lawyer the required 24-hour notice before the TRO. Let's march into court with our publicist, with our lawyer, with our best friend who no longer talks to her. Let's get a TRO. And when the Me Too folks say, why are you taking $7 million from an abuser? They said, I didn't take money from the abuser. I gave it all to charity. Well, they didn't. I don't think anybody should feel bad about them stiffing the ACLU, given what the ACLU did in this case, which is a monstrosity. But she did stiff the sick and dying children. It is gamesmanship, and that's what she's doing here today. But the law is the law, and they have not fulfilled their burden with respect to the counterclaims. There is virtually no nexus between Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman as to these statements at issue, except for the fact that he is an attorney, and that is not sufficient in a case where they have not even established that Mr. Depp was aware of these statements. And they knew that they couldn't do it, and they didn't even try. And it's more of the gamesmanship when
I don't even think she's even
Ms.
been able to
Heard
get her
plays
hands
word games
on
with
the
Mr. Depp about,
$7
oh, I didn't
million
punch you, Johnny, I
that
just
she
hit
was
you. Imagine
told
if
she was
the
gonna
shoe
get
were on
from
the
the
other foot
settlement
and Mr. Depp, a
because
man,
Johnny Depp
was saying to
sued
a
her.
woman,
So
oh,
it's actually just
woman,
frozen in place.
I only hit you, I
until
didn't punch you.
This
And
kinda
when
runs
it
itself
was
over.
chilling,
And even
when
then,
she
I
warned
doubt she
him
was gonna
on the tape, you
try
go
and
tell a
ignore it.
judge, you go tell a jury that you, a man, were abused.
To me, it
See
just
if
seems
they're going to
far-fetched.
believe that. It is an abuse of the system, and she's done it throughout. Finally, Your Honor, and Mr. Rottenborn makes an excellent point with which I agree, which was that with respect to each of the 3 statements, Mr. Waldman was clearly identified, even by the tabloid that printed these, well within articles that had both sides represented, that he was Mr. Waldman's attorney. Even the reader of a tabloid understands that when you're getting statements from attorneys, it's going to be forwarding their client's point of view. Mr. Waldman is not the only attorney who has spoken out. Robbie Kaplan, who was Ms. Heard's second attorney. So Ms. Heard started out with Eric George. He made comments to the press.
Objection, Your Honor. Again, this is so much further beyond what Your Honor is addressing.
I'm finishing up, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm finishing up. My point, Your Honor, and it's on point, is that Mr. George made statements supporting Ms. Heard's position. Ms. Kaplan made very clear statements supporting her client's position on the merits, and so did Mr. Waldman. But everybody knows from reading those that those are statements by partisans. So for the reasons that we've stated and the reasons set forth in the brief, we respectfully submit that the court should grant the motion to strike, or in light of the fact that Mr. Depp may reappear, at the very least, take these motions under advisement until the close of all evidence. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, in this matter, I've reviewed all the defendant's evidence as to her counterclaim, and I've considered the arguments of her counsel and plaintiff's counsel. First, to address a few issues that I believe are outside the motion to strike, and that's as to the slap defense. The slap defense is just that, it's a defense, so it's really not considered a motion to strike. Having said that, we went down that legal road on Friday as far as the slap defense goes, as far as the jury instructions. In this particular case, if the plaintiff prevails, it must be with actual malice. Therefore, if it's with actual malice, immunity does not apply under that statute. So we will deal with that with jury instructions, and we have.
I don't think they're allowed
as to independent contractor, again, I think it's outside the motion to strike. However, Mr. Waldman was plaintiff's attorney since 2016. Before the initiation of litigation, there is evidence that Mr. Waldman had a certain role during the prior divorce proceedings in the UK case. Additionally, there is evidence that shows his legal representation was broader than just a limited litigation, as outlined in all the cases presenting an attorney as an independent contractor. So the only evidence in this case to this point is that Mr. Waldman was an agent to Mr. Depp, and that is the basis to weigh the motion to strike. As far as the opinions argument, again, I think that is outside the motion to strike. The opinions argument, the court has already ruled on this matter as to the three statements that are at issue in the counterclaim, ruled that they were not opinion at the demur and at summary judgment. So that argument will not be part of the motion to strike. So when assessing a motion to strike, the court accepts the favorable evidence adduced as true towards the non-moving party. The court cannot reject any inference from the evidence favorable to the non-moving party unless it would defy logic and common sense. When there is any doubt and question, the court should overrule a motion to strike. Agency may be inferred from the conduct of the parties and from surrounding facts and circumstances. When there is no direct evidence, circumstances may and usually are relied upon to determine whether an agency relationship exists. A principal is liable for the tortious acts of his agent if the agent was performing his principal's business and acting within the scope of his agency. If an agent's tortious act arises from their agency relationship is enacted in part to service the principal can be held liable for the tort. Here, the alleged tort is defamation. Besides demonstrating the agency relationship, the defendant must prove Mr. Waldman published an actionable statement, meaning a statement that is both false and defamatory, with the requisite intent. As to agency, Mr. Waldman was plaintiff's attorney at the time of the alleged defamatory statements were made. Mr. Waldman does not deny this, and neither does the plaintiff. Moreover, Mr. Waldman made the allegedly defamatory statements about the defendant during the proceedings of this action and interacted with the defendant once the statements were made while still representing the plaintiff. Taking the surrounding circumstances as a whole, an agency relationship can be inferred, and thus a scintilla of evidence regarding agency must be turned over to the jury. In addition, the jury may infer that Mr. Waldman made these specific statements to a third party to serve as plaintiff by portraying defendant as an opposing litigant in a negative light. It is not disputed that Mr. Waldman published statements and that there is a question as to whether statements are false, and both parties disagree and have presented conflicting evidence as such. As to actual malice, Mr. Waldman made the counterclaim statements after he met with his client. In addition, there is evidence the plaintiff was with Mr. Waldman at a meeting in February 2020 with the Daily Mail online. Further, defendant claimed that she met with Mr. Waldman where he threw the paper containing the counterclaim statements within them. Consequently, there is more than a scintilla of evidence that a reasonable juror may infer Mr. Waldman made the counterclaim statements while realizing they were false or with a reckless disregard for their truth. It is not my role to measure the veracity or weight of the evidence. The Fourth Circuit and the Virginia Supreme Court have made it crystal clear that actual malice is a question for the fact finder. So therefore, the plaintiff's motion to strike is denied. Okay? Thank you. Is there any other preliminary matters before the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, so they had some evidence to strike and not so much evidence to strike, I'm guessing. From what I got from that is there wasn't really much to do on strike for striking Johnny Depp's case and witnesses. So I'm not too sure. It is interesting. It is very interesting to see where this is going. I wonder what they're talking about right now. I wonder if it's the because I think what they were going through was the whole like everything that Johnny Depp has said is dismissal. I don't know what it is they want to do next. I feel so sad for Johnny though. He looks so lonely over there. Come on, Jack Sparrow, you can do it. That's all I have to say. Fat skirts. Yeah, I have a job. It's called Being Myself. It doesn't pay very much or at all, but you know it works. Just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Enjoy the mayhem in which this is the Johnny Depp Amber Heard Day 21. Okay, yeah, it was frozen for a second. Whoops. I don't know if it's freezing for you guys. Just make sure you guys do refresh every now and then. I do apologize. Make sure that's wrong one. There we go. Cool. That should be working now. But hey, thank you for coming, first guys. I do appreciate it. Also, you don't know whether I have a job or not either, so I don't know why you're even telling me to get a job. It's kind of redundant, but... or irrelevant, I should say. Not redundant. But, hi. It is what it is. So I'm going to do it like this. Which means I'm going to do it like this. Yeah. Huh. Look at them all huddled in like a... They're just huddled in. Talking about it. I think they're either exchanging... I want to say new evidence, but... what new evidence could they have that could be damning to Johnny Depp opposed to any Amber Heard, because at this point, every person that Amber Heard's had on the witness stand has either been a really bad liar, and like you can kind of hear that they they've memorized like a script, especially when it came to Amber Heard when she jumped on the stand, because she tried to fake cry. Why would you fake cry like that? It doesn't make sense to me. Does it, like, unless you were guilty and you were trying to like seem innocent, I don't know why you would openly act like that, you know? But Johnny Depp, he's just been this, he kept going with the cool, calm, and collected move. He admitted to things, like he admitted doing drugs and giving Marilyn Manson a pill and doing coke with him, but you know, a lot of the testimony that he's given and the people that he's had in his defense, it's really all kind of turned to, you know, they all see this man as this wonderful guy that they always want to work with. And I don't see why he's not this type of guy. He went to children's hospitals as Captain Jack Sparrow to cheer these guys up. Like, you can't dismiss that. But I will say, like, drugs do affect people in bad ways mentally. It affects people to do things that they are not prone to do. And I'm not saying that maybe that didn't happen, but I think maybe I think it goes both ways. I think that's my thing. It is pointing to Amber Heard right now with the amount of stuff that's come out, and that's not really helped Amber. But I do feel as if it does go both ways either way. I hope Johnny is able to get like back on his feet. So hopefully, I hope so. It'd be nice. Still, I wonder. I still wonder, like, what could be their next move, because obviously, at the end of the day, the jury decides whether who's guilty and who's not. At the end of the day, there is a jury. That being said, I don't know. I don't see. I honestly don't see what else you could kind of pull from out of her ass, like, genuinely. Like, look at Johnny. He's just sitting there, probably writing in a journal, or, you know, writing about his experience in this case currently. And he's just chilling out. He doesn't give a crap. Amber Heard, you can kind of see at the start, like, she was moving her head around. If you go back to my Twitch, Demon0709, I did do the first little bit here before it was just cutting out on you. It's definitely interesting. They must be arguing between each other, because, like, I've got it on two screens. So I've got my desktop, which is playing it directly, and then I've got my laptop here that's playing it with the same delay as you guys. And when I look up here, it's just, wow, it's just amazing. Like, they must be trying to scramble something together. And that's what I'm seeing, is they're scrambling anything they can. Sorry. What I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to put it to the intermission, and then what we'll do is I'll put it to, like, be right back, actually. And then what I'll do is, while I'm looking at this, we can talk about it. Because I think at the end of the day, like, there isn't much that they can do at this point. I mean, they've exhausted everything and anything they can possibly do. Amber Heard's side, at least, that could possibly benefit them in any way, shape, or form. Like, we're not looking at this as just a simple, okay, the male's the abuser, that's it. There's more evidence against the female as the perpetrator than it is the male in this case. And I don't know whether that's because, like, to me, it just seems as if Amber Heard was looking for his money. Johnny Depp was a very successful actor already. He was already doing these amazing major films, just like the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like, did you really need the money that much to do this, to the point of, like, taking this person to court, alleging that there was domestic violence, and now alleging that there was sexual assault? You had no medical records to show that you had to go to hospital for these said injuries, and yet you still allege these things. Then you have your legal team go to a news or media outlet to basically say everything that Johnny says is bullshit. And anything that will be said is just going to be the same thing. Like, how do you know that? You are causing speculation between the people that, or trying to cause speculation to the people that support Johnny Depp. But not just that, it doesn't help you. Because when people see that, people know that you were desperate. Amber, you're better off walking away, turning around and saying, look, I'm bankrupt. That way, the courts pay the $50 million. That way you don't. Because we all know that you don't have that money. Like, not after this. You lose, you're not only paying for, this court case, that's probably going to be millions of thousands of dollars in its own right. Not just that, you still got to fulfill your pledge to the Children's Hospital and the ACLU and all that other stuff that she was pledging. She didn't donate, but pledge. I don't see a end where it comes out on top for Amber. Not right now. I don't believe there is a possible end that is good for her. Because, I don't know, as I said, the evidence just points to her. It's not just the jury, it's now public opinion. No one's gonna go and watch Aquaman 2 if she's starring in it. Jason Momoa, the man that plays the main role for Aquaman, that beautiful muscling man. I'm not gay, but if I was, I'd go for him. Jason Momoa, he turned around to his agent and to a media outlet and said that he couldn't work with Amber Heard anymore due to the fact that there was just the chemistry was off, like all the time, from what he was saying in this article. How can you work, you can't work with someone like that, not at that extent, unless you've worked with them for that long to know that you don't like working with this person. You can't work with this person. It's off. And I can understand that. I've had jobs where it was just off. It didn't work well for me. And it wasn't just the work. It could have been the people. It could be anything. And sometimes you don't have a choice in the matter. But with actors, they have a choice. These are millions and millions of dollars worth in movie roles that could potentially go even higher than that if they have the right storyline, casting, and all other stuff. Plus, they've still got to pay for the actors themselves. So, these actors are earning millions of dollars, $3 to $4 million in movie roles. To live. They have a right to speak up and go, hey, I don't like working with this person. And then they just have to take it. Kind of thing. They take it either under advisement or they do all that. But I don't see what the go is with that currently. You know what I mean? I don't know. I might be talking nonsense and I might be talking out of my ass here. And sometimes I do that. Sometimes I just prattle on. And it's understandable. But I still think that I still think that there's possibility here for, I don't know, possibly more. I don't know. As I said, I don't know where this is gonna go. I don't know how far this person will take everything when it comes down to it. I look up and half of Johnny Depp's team is back down to sitting down. I think we may be getting ready to come back. So, I'm going to switch over to the live and we can keep watching. I didn't mean to open what I just went to open. My bad. Alright. I think we're getting ready to come back. So, hopefully that does change up for you guys in a minute. Yep. Look at that. We're coming back. Let's see what
All right. Are we ready for the jury then?
Amber Heard's team can pull out of their ass.
Okay.
Look at that judge's face. She's just trying not to smile and kind of laugh at everything, I guess. I don't know. She looks like she's just trying to keep a straight face, but at the same time she's like, Waiting for the jury.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. We had a few housekeeping matters to take care of, but thank you. You have your seat. All right, your next witness.
Your Honor, on behalf of defendant and counterclaimant Amber Heard, we rest.
All right, thank you. All right, rebuttal evidence?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Depp calls Walter Hamada of Warner Brothers.
All right, Mr. Hamada.
Your Honor, just to clarify, this is by deposition, so we may need that.
Okay, okay.
I apologize, I should have provided notice.
That's all right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If we could get yeah.
Warner Brothers. Okay. This will be interesting. I really hope they publish the deposition.
Ramada, what do you work for Warner Brothers Entertainment Inc.?
Yes, I do.
In what capacity?
My title is President of DC-based film productions for Warner Brothers.
What, if anything, you did to prepare to testify for Warner Brothers as to topics 2 through 18?
I did not do anything to prepare for this.
Pretty sure
other than the meeting that I had with the attorneys.
Did Warner Brothers have a contract with Amber Heard to perform in Aquaman 2?
Yes, there was we had an option agreement for her for Aquaman 2.
Do you know what it is?
It looks like a standard contract between an actor and the studio.
And which actor was involved in this? Which actor was a party to this contract?
Amber Heard. It's a contract for Amber Heard for the role of Mara in Aquaman and its sequels.
Which studio contracted with Amber Heard?
Warner Brothers.
When did you come to be the president of DC?
At the beginning of 2018.
Mr. Hamada, was
I'm gonna mute my mic here just so I can hear it all,
Warner Brothers
and I'll comment when it needs to be commented on.
The Aquaman 2 contract, or what you call the option agreement?
No.
Was she released from her Aquaman 2 contract on or about February 22, 2021?
No.
Was Ms. Heard ever rehired for Aquaman 2 by Warner Brothers?
No.
Did Ms. Heard receive a pay increase for Aquaman 2?
No.
Why not?
As a rule, as a company, we go through a lot of trouble when we make our deals with our actors. We get options on them for subsequent movies. And I think traditionally, prior to me joining the company, every option was renegotiated. And one of the things that we were trying to put a rein in on was not renegotiating every deal, with the understanding that people come in and make these deals and they have an understanding that there will be options and that there is a deal in place. And it was a big part of our philosophy that we were going to hold people to their options moving forward.
But did Warner Brothers at any point in time reduce Ms. Heard's role in Aquaman 2?
The role in the film the size of the role in the film that she has was determined in the early development of the script, which would have happened in 2018, I would say. Well, so, and from there, beyond normal development, the role sort of, the character's involvement in the story was sort of what it was from the beginning.
Was her role ever reduced for any reason?
No, I mean, again, from the early stages of the development of the script, the movie was built around the character of Arthur and the character of Orm. Arthur being Jason Momoa and Orm being Patrick Wilson. So they were always the two co-leads of the movie.
Did Warner Brothers ever plan to portray Ms. Heard as the co-lead in Aquaman 2?
No, the movie was always pitched as a buddy comedy between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson.
Was Ms. Heard cast in Aquaman?
Yes, she was.
Was Ms. Heard cast in Aquaman 2?
Yes, she was.
Was Ms. Heard paid for her services in Aquaman 1?
Yes.
Was Ms. Heard paid for her services in Aquaman 2?
Yes.
Was her compensation for Aquaman 2 affected in any way by anything said by Johnny Depp?
No.
Was her compensation for Aquaman 2 affected by anything said by Adam Waldman?
No.
Was her compensation for Aquaman 2 affected by anything said by anybody representing Johnny Depp?
No.
Was there any delay in Warner Brothers exercising the option to cast Ms. Heard in Aquaman 2?
Yes, there was.
How long a delay was there?
I don't know, probably weeks.
What was the cause of the delay?
There were conversations about potentially recasting.
Who was the producer?
Peter Safran.
Who was the director?
James Wan.
Did Warner Brothers believe that those concerns were legitimate?
Yeah, I mean, I had no reason not to believe the director and the producer of the movie.
And you are testifying today as a representative of Warner, correct?
Yes, I am.
What, if any, creative concerns did Warner Brothers have about casting Amber Heard as Mera in Aquaman 2?
It was the concerns that were brought up at the wrap of the first movie, production of the first movie, which is the issue of chemistry. Did the two have chemistry? I think editorially they were able to make that relationship work in the first movie, but there was a concern that it took a lot of effort to get there, and would we be better off recasting, finding someone who had better, more natural chemistry with Jason Momoa and move forward that way.
Did Warner Brothers take any steps affirmatively to audition other actresses for the role of Mera in Aquaman 2?
No, we did not.
Other than the creative concerns and concerns about chemistry you testified about, was there any other reason Warner Brothers delayed in picking up Ms. Heard's option for Aquaman 2?
No, it was all concerns about whether she was the right bit of casting for the movie.
What role, if any, did Ms. Heard's dispute with Johnny Depp have in Warner Brothers' delay picking up Ms. Heard's option for Aquaman 2?
There was none from our end.
At any point in time, was Warner Brothers considering paying Ms. Heard more money for Aquaman 2 than is set forth in the option contract you previously identified?
No, as I said, we were determined to hold our actors to their option agreements.
Would Warner Brothers have paid Ms. Heard more money on Aquaman 2 if it had picked up her option earlier?
No.
At any time from the beginning of history through today, did Warner Brothers ever release Ms. Heard from the Aquaman 2 contract?
No.
At any point in time from the beginning of history to today, did Warner Brothers rehire Ms. Heard for Aquaman 2?
No, because we just picked up her option.
And when is the last time you spoke with Rob Cohen relating in any manner to whether to exercise the option on Amber Heard for Aquaman 2?
No, it would have been the same time that I was having those conversations with Peter Safran.
So
in 2020.
Did you speak with Zack Snyder at all relating to whether to exercise the option for Amber Heard on Aquaman
2? No, I've not had any conversations with Zack Snyder.
Did you speak at all with Jason Momoa in preparation for your deposition today?
No.
Have you ever spoken with Jason Momoa about any issues relating to chemistry between he and Amber Heard?
Yes.
When did you speak with Jason Momoa about chemistry issues between he and Amber Heard?
It would have been in that same time period where we were prior to green light of the movie.
Now, you were asked some questions about scripts. Did you review any of the drafts of the script for Aquaman 2?
Yes.
When?
Part of my role is I read all the drafts of the scripts as they come in.
When was the first script for Aquaman 2?
Oh, boy. I cannot tell you. Probably in 2018, the latter part of 2018 would be my guess.
And how many versions of the script had been written by the beginning of 2021 for Aquaman 2?
Oh, there were probably half dozen drafts of the script.
Right. What, if anything, did Rob Collins say to you about chemistry? What specifically about the chemistry between Amber Heard and Jason Momoa?
Just the fact that they didn't really have a lot of chemistry together. The reality is it's not uncommon on movies for two leads to not have chemistry, and that it's sort of movie magic and editorial, the ability to sort of put performances together, and with the magic of, a great score and how you put the pieces together, you can fabricate sort of that chemistry. And so I think at the end of the day, I think if you watch the movie, they look like they had great chemistry. But I just know that through the course of the post-production that it took a lot of effort to get there. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's very easy. You just put the, characters on the screen together and they work. And sometimes it's harder. And so...
Can you give me anything more specific about what it was with Amber Heard and Jason Momoa that was difficult for the chemistry?
No, because it's like what makes a movie star a movie star. Like you know it when you see it, and the chemistry wasn't there.
Now, you've used the term fabricated a number of times. What did you do to fabricate the chemistry between Amber Heard and Jason Momoa?
Well, those are just, it's editorial. A good editor and a good filmmaker can pick the right takes, can pick the right moments, and put scenes together. Again, score is a big, the music in a scene makes a big difference. You can make a happy scene feel sadder or a sad scene feel happier. And so it was sort of it's just the magic of post-production, editing, sound design, music, etc.
And what do you mean by fabricating, though? I mean, were they literally falsifying, or were they just picking the best music? Let me just finish my question. Were they picking the best music and picking the best looks because that's their job and that's what you do on every scene?
That is what we do in post-production. That's what filmmakers do. This is, on any production, you're doing that. You're putting performances together. Sometimes it's easier than others. This one was more difficult because of the lack of chemistry between the two. But they were able to, James Wan and the editor were able to get it to a place where the end result actually works. And it's great.
And in fact, that's the job of every filmmaker, right? Is to put all the combinations together to make the most successful production.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what has been marked as exhibit number 5. It's ALH 18247. And this is a text message exchange between James Wan and Amber Heard. And you mentioned James Wan was the director of Aquaman 2, is that correct? And Aquaman, and Aquaman, the first one, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And James is texting to Amber on August 25, 2018. You rated really high with the audience, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. You see that?
Yes.
This is August 25, 2018. What's going on August 25, 2018 that would cause the director to send a text message to Amber saying...
That'd be a test screening. So during our post-production of the movie, we test the movie with an audience, and the audience tells us what they liked and what they didn't like. And so that's what he's referring to there.
And they really liked Amber Heard, correct?
Yes, she did. She tested well.
It hit $1 billion, is that correct?
Yeah.
And more specifically, did you play any role in the determination to communicate to Amber's representatives that Warner Brothers was considering not exercising her option?
Yeah, probably in the sense of we had the conversations, and I believe, if I recall, we had, that's where Peter Safran offered to reach out to the agent and express which direction we were leaning.
Have you seen any document that says there was any chemistry issues between Amber Heard and Jason Momoa in Aquaman 1?
Documents? No, I mean, those were all conversations.
But if Jason came back and James Wan came back, you were guaranteeing that Amber Heard would play Mira, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And Jason Momoa was able to negotiate a different compensation structure, was he not, for Aquaman 2?
That's true. He did renegotiate.
Now, Aquaman Aquaman was the highest grossing DC film ever for Warner Brothers, was it not?
Yes, it was.
What, if any, issues did you have with Amber Heard in Aquaman 2?
My understanding is actually the production went very smoothly.
All right, thank you. Your next witness.
Your Honor, we call Dr. Colburn next, but I know we have a preliminary matter that we need to deal with briefly, if we may approach.
Sure.
Alright. How riveting is this right now? Like, I'm glad they brought up the fact about the what was it? Relationship between Jason Momoa? Does that make sense? I don't know. It just... What the hell? Sorry, guys. For some reason I had something else up, and yeah, I don't know why. Didn't make any sense to me either. Still doesn't. It's just, wow, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems weird. The way that they kind of just do that sort of stuff, you know? Because, like, I get it. Having a relationship definitely affects the movie, and there's some things you can do with CGI, as they said. But, I mean, I don't know, man. To me, I think there's definitely still a lot more that is possibly to be said. I can't say for sure what that might be, but what I can say is it's definitely interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, it seems weird. I'm just trying to do this. Struggling. I don't know why. It's kind of been just difficult. Why has it been difficult? It's not doing much for me. I should probably be double checking. I can hear it anyway, but like, I need to be making sure that I can actually see what I'm doing here. You know what I mean? Okay. Could it be? Okay, no. I'm just trying to do this thing for TikTok and it's been really annoying. I don't know what's gonna happen here. So, are they waiting for another witness? Is that what they're kind of waiting for now? Is quote unquote witnesses? Or is that just me being optimistic? Currently. Because I have no idea. I think this is gonna take a while. Honestly. Oh man, it's taking forever. I mean, court takes forever, like, it's not bad, but it's 12 o'clock, man. I wanna go to bed. Me tired. Alright guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually end the stream here. I'm going to go to bed. I am tired. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. But I thank you guys for coming in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize again. We have a few things to take care of. We're just going to go ahead and take our morning recess now for 15 minutes. Do not discuss the case and do not talk to anybody, okay? Do not do any outside research. Sorry, that was the same thing.
Yeah, so they're going out for recess now. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. It's been an hour-long stream.
Alright, and if the doctor testifies, then is that WebEx? Yes. Okay, so I'll get that set up too while we take the break as well. All right, we'll go ahead and take a break. Let's make it 10:50 to give them time to look at everything, okay?
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right.
How's this? Yeah, it has changed up for you. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna go to bed, but before that, I just want to show you guys something here. This is me just setting my shit up. I am very much ready for this. Now, I understand that there are going to be some people that I know that are going to want to troll me. And let me just tell you, I give you full reign to do so because I'm not going to give a shit. But we're going to go over to my current...
No, come here!
My current... Twitch account that I have. I can't remember the name, so I'm gonna look at it now while I have the chance. This is really badly operated, you can tell. Oh wait, hold on, wrong keyboard. Pfft. Sorry. There we go. Wrong bloody keyboard. This is live streaming and it's finest, ladies and people. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. I called us people. How terrible. So we're gonna go to. This is my new.
This is not happening. No shot.
Sorry. This is my new Twitch account. Feel free to sign up, subscribe. It would be nice for you if you subscribe or follow. The whole thing is pretty fucked. I'm not gonna lie. But this is sorry, 25. Okay, so this is my new Twitch account, and I just want to show you guys, just so you guys are aware, I will be streaming here very soon. I'm going to be playing some games such as Among Us, for the most part. We're going to go with the schedule here. Okay. Now, just so you guys can actually see, every week, Monday to Friday, at 7 o'clock, we will be doing a live stream for Among Us. It is a modded one. I'll be in a Discord with a bunch of people, and we'll be hopefully having a whole lot of fun trying to figure out who's killed. Hopefully I get imposter. We might be able to kill some people. Hooray. A murder. But hey, look, I don't discriminate. I'm not judging. This is the way things are. So be prepared for that. Please do follow, and it would be amazing if you guys do. And I will catch you guys later. Oh, and by the way, Sundays hasn't been added yet, so I will add it just before I go to bed. But Sundays, every Sunday is a 3 o'clock or 2:30, I should say, time frame, just so that people are aware, kind of thing. I know I'm terrible at this, absolutely horrible. So every Sunday, if I could get to 3 o'clock, every Sunday there's going to be a 2:30 video. live stream anyway, and that's where we'll play Among Us and probably react to some things. So, be ready for that. We do start tomorrow at 7:30 is when the game actually starts, but we'll definitely be playing some more very soon. But yeah, thank you for joining, thank you for coming through, and have a nice night. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. I just really hope that one day, with everything that's been said and done, you know, that I could just have a good old time. Because there's nothing better yeah, I'll do it. I'll sign up. Cool. That's in 19 hours. This is gonna go into 11:30. Damn. Oh shit, I totally forgot I'm still live streaming. Yeah, so I just double checked too, guys. That's what I was checking just then. Was the Discord that I'm following. It'll be good because we will have fun. We are gonna have fun. Generally. Genuinely have fun. So hopefully that's gonna be all goods on our end. Oh my god. I know. I'm supposed to be going and I haven't left. But I have an excuse. I'm just excited for tomorrow. We have 19 hours until the stream, in which things get better. We play a different game. A game where things are just good, I reckon. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass again, I know. Realistically, yeah. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Then again, I've had worse at times. You know. Clip. I'm taking a little while. It's just getting this last little bit for you guys. Alright guys, so this is my auditoire to the stream. This is where I end things. I hope you guys have a really good night, and I will catch you guys tomorrow or today when I do my newest live stream and we play some Among Us and we have fun. I'm sorry about the watermark. This is gonna get fixed at some point, but have fun with the outro.